also known as the Wild Illustrator. On this channel, I share the slow, deliberate process behind my watercolor paintings. Words woven from mythology, nature, and ancient symbolism. But today's story is a bit of a departure. It's about a challenge that pushed me completely out of my comfort zone, forcing me to translate a digital universe into my own wild language. It's a journey into the cold, misty mountains of Skyrim, painted on a scale that felt almost like a physical battle. Before we dive into the fog and the pigments, I have a question for you. What is a place, a book, or even a game that makes you feel the ancient chill, that sense of wonder? Let me know in the comments. I love reading about the words that inspire your imagination. And if you enjoy these deep dives into the intersection of art and myth, consider subscribing and hitting the bell button. It helps this channel stay wild and grow. Now, let's talk about how a total non-gamer ended up lost in the mountains of the north. I'm part of the Eclipse Studio Collective, and for one of our actions, the theme was video games. Now, if you know my work, you know I'm more at home with 19th century folklore than with a controller. I didn't want to paint something gaming-oriented in the classic sense. I wanted something that felt ancient. So I turned to the resident expert, my husband, a total video game nerd. We had this long, fascinating conversation that turned into a bit of a creative clash. He was showing me armor sets, skill trees, and legendary weapons. He really wanted a mage to hold a specific staff from the game. He was looking at the stats. But as an illustrator, I was looking for the soul. I told him, I don't want her to hold a tool. I want the magic to be an extension of her spirit, emerging from the fog. We spent hours debating how much game and how much myth should be in the piece. In the end, I chose the myth. Before even touching the brush, I spent 2 days scouting in-game. I wandered through the digital tundra and the peaks of Hafengar, obsessed with architecture. I studied the ancient North ruins, those heavy, monolithic stones that seem to groan under the weight of centuries. I filled pages of my sketchbook with arches, crumbled towers, and dragon mounts. But as I started composing the final piece, I made a radical decision. I left them all out. I realized that sometimes showing a ruin makes the world feel small or defined. By removing the stones, the landscape becomes infinite. I wanted the feeling of a ruin, that heavy haunted silence, to be present in the atmosphere itself, without the need for literal walls. The ruins are there, they are just hidden in the mist of your imagination. Let's talk about the beast I had to tame. This piece is 56 by 76 centimeters, the largest format I ever tackled. For this I choose Harsha's satin hot press 740 grams paper. At this size, paper becomes a living thing. If you use a standard 300 gram sheet, the moment you apply a large wash, the paper will buckle and create valleys where the pigment pulls uncontrollably. The 640 grams is almost like a wooden board, thick, stubborn, and incredibly thirsty. To keep it perfect flat, I mounted it on a Forex panel. Working on a surface this large is a physical experience. You aren't just painting with your hand, you are moving your whole arm, your shoulders, almost like a slow motion dance against the drying time. As the landscape started to take shape, I had to decide what to do with the most iconic element of Skyrim, the dragon. In the game, dragons are bosses. They are loud, fire-breathing, and central. But in this painting, I wanted him to be a genius loci, the spirit of the place. So I painted him as a shadow in the distance. He's not attacking, he's watching. He is a memory in the sky, barely visible through the clouds. Sometimes what you don't show clearly is much more powerful than what you put in the spotlight. He is in the hush over the mountains. Every painting has a moment of crisis. For me it was the mage's hand. In watercolor there is no under button. I struggled with the anatomy, and after several washes I lost the luminosity of the paper. It looked muddy. Instead of giving up, I switched to gouache. By using an opaque medium, I was able to sculpt the hand back into existence, reclaiming the highlights and the strength of the gesture. It was a humble reminder that even on professional 640 gram paper, you have to be ready to pivot and find new ways to tell the story. contrast the matte texture of the Arches paper, I introduced metallic watercolors for the wolves and the mage spell. These pigments behave differently. They sit on top of the paper rather than sinking in it. On camera you can barely see them, but in real life, as you move past the painting, the magic literally ignites. The wolf's fur catches the light, making them look like they are made of starlight and frost. It creates a bridge between the visible world and the mythical one. Little by little, this piece came together. The quiet tension between the mage, her animal guides, and the ancient dragon watching from above. The original was sold at Eclipse Studio Auction, but I've made a limited series of prints for those who want to wander these mountains with me. You'll find the link in the description. Thank you for joining me in this long, slow process. If you enjoyed this deep dive, stay tuned for the next journey. And stay wild. Ciao!